What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So today, in this video, we're going to talk about election. All right. So election 2024. There's been plenty of things that have happened, over the past few months. Things going on in the Biden world, things going on in the Trump world, as we all know it. But the most recent thing is about the debates. So what we're going to do is um, we're going to talk about the debates, what I feel about them, how I think they're going to go, and whether or not it really matters. And then I'm also going to talk about probably mention some stuff that has been going on between the candidates. Um, and perhaps even make separate videos like specifically for Biden, specifically for Trump. But in this one, we're going to talk mostly about the debates, the current information, and what I see going forward. So yes, this past week we got the news that the back and forth between Biden and Trump, that they have supposedly scheduled two debates. I think one in June or July, one or the other. I think it was June. Or no, I guess it was July, and the other one in September. Um, and then of course at the end, Trump threw out, because apparently he so called wants to have several, as many as possible. Um, so he also threw out a date in October. Um, so the first two, well, the first one is going to be with CNN. Um, and a couple of those, Rachel Maddow, I think, and somebody else. I can't remember who the other one is, hosting it. And then in September is supposed to be ABC. Is which will probably, according to my understanding, will be a little bit more successful. Um, uh, because it will be on more outlets. CNN likes to try to make it hard as hell for you to even see anything. So you have to either be on have connection to CNN, or I think their paid, like whatever the other service is that they do. But ABC, I think, is going to be a little bit more um broadly shown across more networks. But for me, unfortunately, that one's the furthest out. I wish we'd have already had some debates. Because for me, the more debates like early on allows people to really get a better perspective. Although I think most people already know with these two, what's going to happen. But the one key factor is the kind of third wheel that is going on right now, and that's with RFK. Um, and he is pushing. First he argued that these dates were trying to keep him out, and I mean, obviously, yes, the DNC and RNC, or the two parties, or the two campaigns, because these two are actually these debates, for the first time in a while, are not going to be tied to the actual like debate commission, um, which is what usually handles the debates. It's RNC and DNC both, um, kind of have control of it, along with very powerful, wealthy donors and stuff, um, that are oftentimes there at the debates in the crowd. um, Instead, Biden's campaign and team put out a letter to the commission saying that they would not be doing the debates through them. They wanted to do it independently, sort of, in a way. The campaigns were going to kind of, debate it out, or like, work out the details to get the debate scheduled and whatnot. And that's apparently what happened. Um, and So they've got these two set up. So there was some stipulations, no uh no audience. So it's just going to be the candidates um and the moderators. Um uh the one ability that they would be the ability to like cut off mics after time is up, because each one has a particular amount of time to answer questions. And if somebody goes, it basically was like if somebody goes over their time, the mic can be cut off. And there will probably be some major like back and forth conflict with that. People who think it's a good thing, people who think it's not a good thing. Those who don't like the like talking over each other kind of thing, or just rambling on, or being able to interrupt at any point, will probably love that idea. It seems more sophisticated, a little bit more controlled, and not allowing things to just like go off the rail. Um, which, let's be honest, they both have a tendency to do. Trump a little bit more than Biden, but nevertheless, they both have the tendency to do it. Um, but for me personally, I don't like the idea. I personally want the mics to be open, and I want them to stay open, because to me, doing that is really, in my opinion, just a way of suppressing free speech. In my opinion, I'm one who has no problem with free speech. I think you should have it. It's our First Amendment right. But outside of all that, it's just not only just that, but it causes a false, and in my opinion, causes a false impression of each candidate. Okay, because when you allow them to just spit off however they want to, you really, in my opinion, get more of their personality, more of their character, and stuff like that in those moments. It doesn't seem so uh scripted or whatnot. So allowing them to just free ball like that, to say, um, in my opinion, it is not only does it make it fairly entertaining, although it can obviously be annoying when they're speaking over each other, but it allows you to really see, how they're going to be, what kind of person they are, who's going to be more cordial, who's going to be more, you know, uh, just like what am I going for? More with it or whatever, who's gonna, because usually the ones who just ramble or just constantly interrupt, in my opinion, those type of people don't really have anything to say. They don't really have like uh something that has been like critically thought out, because the type of person that just sits there and just rambles and rambles and rambles, and just spits out stuff. They're talking off the cuff. They're not really, most of the time, not thinking about what they're really saying. And it usually is either going off of stuff that they just constantly say, which we know both of them do, but one more than another. But um, you just tend to get those same, either the same talking points, or constant propaganda that they each would respectively spit out, or they're just talking off the cuff and usually just rambling on about something that they really don't even know what they're even saying. And you get more real moments in that, and that's the reason why I feel like it's not really that good of an idea to cut them off. um Outside of, like I said, just the fact that, in my opinion, that's just a form of canceling, like, of just going against free speech. Um, yes, does it make it a little bit more like tidied up and clean cut or whatever to cut them off, and we get to go on? Yes, true enough. But if you give them enough time, if the whole thing is set up to where there's plenty of time to have them talk, you're not. Granted, there's lots of subjects that need to be talked about, but if you've already allowed plenty of time for the whole thing to happen in the first place, and kind of clear cut down to questions that are really important, which that's also going to be a problem, is whether or not the questions are even good to begin with, which that's a whole nother bag. But I just feel like that's something that shouldn't just keep the mics open, let them ramble. You know, sometimes somebody will actually show their true selves, and a lot of times uh, certain people that will just benefit to cut them off because it won't allow the opportunity for them to become annoying. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know. I just feel like that's that for me sets a precedent that's gonna hinder um people from seeing how somebody really is. So anyways, and then I think there was a couple other things, but I can't remember what they were. But yeah, they want to have these debates. Um, I think both of them want to have them for because they think it's going to make the other look bad. Obviously, Trump thinks Biden is a sleepy Joe who can't put two sentences together or thought or whatever. And while there is some merit to that at some times, because I mean he is 80 something years old, Trump himself doesn't have much room to speak because he rambles on and talks about stuff that doesn't make sense, says words that don't make sense, can't pronounce half of the words he thinks he knows. They both have their speech issues, they both have their cognitive issues. Um, and then, of course, Biden just thinks, Trump's going to just spit off a whole bunch of nonsense, which is probably true, and make himself look bad on his own, which is probably true. But I feel like at this point, I'm not completely like this. Obviously, is going to be for what portion of the country has, for some reason or another, not made up their mind. Um, I feel like there is a great percentage of those people who more than likely haven't made up their mind for Trump or Biden because they more than likely don't plan on voting for either one. Either one. They're looking for a third choice or even potentially just not voting at all. Um, I just don't see where there's a whole lot of people in the country who are undecided because they're genuinely trying to go, is it Trump that I want or is it Biden that I want? At this point, I feel like everybody knows who Biden is, everybody knows who Trump is, and those who are for Trump are for Trump, those who are for Biden are for Biden. They're not going to change. Certainly not going to change for the other. Nobody is going. It's like a Biden supporter going to suddenly go, you know what? Nah, never mind. I'm going to vote for Trump. There's just I don't really feel like that's going to happen. That's going to happen, and certainly not somebody as a Trump voter going to be like, you know what? Nah, never mind. I'm going to vote for Biden. At this point, as diverse as the country is, and the stark like differences for those who in the way that someone would vote for Trump and someone who vote for Biden, switching to the other is just more than likely not in their like it's just not in that possibility. Like there's just so those who are undecided, I don't feel like there's a great portion of those who actually like genuinely can't decide between the two. More than likely, it's that they either aren't planning on voting or they're going to try to just vote for a third party, whether or not that is going to be significant or not. Maybe just for kicks. I don't know. What portion might actually be trying to figure out which one I think is very minute, and probably insignificant in the first place. But so overall, this is probably pointless. But what will be interesting as I was going back, let me go back to RFK. I mean, yeah, is that right? RFK. Anyway, that if he is able to get on enough ballots, which um, he after complaining about these debates. He come back apparently and said that he would have no problem getting to the I'm sorry, the July debate. um, so if he can make it, if he actually can get to, because you have to get to enough, you have to have be on enough ballots to be able to have like 170 or 175 or something like that electorates, um, if if you were voted on, and also you have to have 15% in at least four like major polls um, in current polling, which I do believe he pretty much has in the bag. The only thing would be the actual like being on the ballot, which he's already I think in California and Florida, which is already I think almost 100 electorates there. Um, so it's not like he has a whole lot more to go. Um, but he there is a good chance he actually will have the chance to like according to current like stipulations for making the debates. Now, could they possibly come up with some other wild ass reason that he can't get, be in the debates? That is very possible. After all, the debate was brought about by the two campaigns. Um, so, you know, will he really be able to go? If they come up with some other arbitrary reason why he can't, make it, I don't know. But if he can actually be at the debates, this will be, in my opinion, probably a good bit of a game changer as far as the debate goes itself, and like the results, like the actual like genuine results as far as voters concerned and their mentality, um, and maybe even helping make up some minds that are really kind of like on the border of whether they're gonna just fall to Biden or fall to Trump or actually consider a third party like RFK. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to debates, because well, let me continue. Because right now it's kind of up in the air as to whether or not he takes more votes from Biden or more votes from Trump. In my opinion, it's probably more equal. I don't, but I think it might be pretty significant. Um, uh, and could potentially even from the debate pull some votes. Even more votes. Now, do I personally like him? No, I don't. I personally do not like him. I'll just go ahead and give that caveat. But I don't like Biden or Trump either. So they are those three are not my ideal candidate by any sense of the meaning. But in my opinion, as far as debates would go, like in general, um, I don't like the whole putting these like high standards to get debates. I feel like anybody who has a major party backing them, um, really just in general, anybody who actually just wants to be president should have the possibility of getting up on the stage. In a full true democracy, which I think would be, should be, um, there should be no like holding anybody back. Everybody should have opportunities to see anybody who is willing to take the jump and be commander in chief of the most powerful country in the world. You know, because for me, more um more options, the better. The more options, the better. So like for instance, Jill Stein should be on stage. Um, Cornel West should be on stage. Um, and any other major, I'm not sure if Marianne Williamson is still. I can't. I haven't really paid attention. I know she had jumped back in. I don't know if she bowed out again yet. But even she should be on stage. Like anybody who is willing or wanting to be a president should have the opportunity to debate, at least in the first one. You should at least give one debate, the first debate. Treat the general election just like a primary. You allow everybody on stage, let them talk, let them get, their points across, how they feel, and then, based on polling after that, if you wanted to, like, try to cut it down or something in the second debate potentially. I mean, yeah, I could see where that could be a possibility, and I could see like getting uh, at least to some degree being behind that, or understanding that, because you probably don't want to go two or three, four debates with just five, six, seven, eight people on stage, obviously. Um, you want it to eventually cool down, which sometimes that may just naturally happen. I think there's a good chance that that would naturally happen, organically. But just people just realizing that the debate did not help them. Their poll numbers did not go up. They don't have a chance in hell. So just bow out. But yeah, I feel like especially particularly Jill Stein, Cornel West, some two people who have a more progressive view, have more different, more left, actual left views, should be able to get on stage and bring up stuff that those three are, um main candidates just aren't going to talk about. Um, and there are some issues where they are all three exactly the same on, and you should have candidates on stage that have differences of opinions on every subject that needs to have difference of opinion every subject. If there is a subject that every candidate on stage completely agrees on, that's a problem in my opinion. That shows that some more people need to be on stage. And particularly for me personally, just the subject of foreign conflicts, let's put it to that way right now, foreign conflicts going on currently, those three have the exact same view. So one might be a little harsher than the other in the favor of one side, but they all three are in favor of one side. So, um, I feel like there should be more candidates up there with a difference of opinion, and would bring up questions and bring up subjects and bring up matter, content matter, um, to actually debate against those opinions. Um, so yeah, that's my personal thing. Will it happen? I'm pretty sure they're going to happen. Will a third one happen? Because Trump threw out for a third one with Fox News. Of course, he wants somebody's a little bit more on his side, and if I'm being honest, I don't feel like that's really that hard of a stretch. I feel like the Biden team immediately coming out and kind of in a douchey way, acting like we agreed to two, we're not going to play these games, blah blah blah. I feel like that was kind of like, uh, I don't know, pandering to themselves. Like it was just trying to keep it in their favor. It really was, in my opinion, a bad look. I think they should have been like more like this, like call the bluff kind of thing. And like, yeah, of course, we'll do one on Fox News, no problem. Let's do a third one. You want a fourth one? We'll do it with whatever, One News America, whatever, what are the hero, like what we'll do however many you want to. I think that would have shown more confidence. It would have shown because I feel like Trump threw that out there on purpose, just to because he knew that they were going to be like, nope, not Fox News, not going to happen, and then he could use that as you know, a campaign, stomp and everything. So oh, they didn't want to go on Fox News, ha ha ha. Even though he's called Fox News fake news, however many times now, but but yeah, it's just like it's just all so both of them are so their campaigns, their strategies, their opinions, their ideas, their character, everything is just so adolescent at this point. It's like they're so old, they're freaking young, like they're children. And it's annoying to me. and that's how I feel about it. But so yeah, now, real quickly, just on each one of them individually. Um, First off, Biden. Obviously, the issues there is his cognitive, ability. Um, he has had moments, that have shown his age, no doubt. Um, and but are they going to allow him to come to these? They agreed to the debates. They're not going to allow him to come to the debates and not be in his like tip top shape. They will come up with some concoction of something to have him lively, to have him hyper, to have him spitting off at the mouth. I'm pretty sure at this point they have figured out a pretty good cocktail. It showed at the State of the Union that they have kind of perfected it to some degree. He did start lagging a little bit towards the end of that, but for the most part, he was with it. So yeah, they figured it out. I feel like they will most certainly have him uh, uh, drinking down his confidence and ability to get through that debate. Both debates with no problem. Uh, but there are clear issues with Biden, in my opinion, right at this point at being president. Um, and most of that revolves around, for me, even though he has done some pretty good things as president domestically for for economic things, and even to some small degree healthcare, uh, and education. Um, Not near about enough. Not what I would like to see done. But he has in the workforce, jobs and like when it comes to unionizations and things like that. He's been pretty clear and strong in that. Um, but his foreign problems right now ultimately just are kicking him in his ass to the point that I don't know if he can come back from it. I truly don't know if he would have to make some hard major turnarounds um in the coming months, like right now. Like he needs to do a 180 right now, um to even have the slightest chance at um at recovering, in my opinion. um so yeah, that is for me is his big problem. um because his unwavering um support for one side right now is not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way. And in a separate video strictly about him, I can go into more detail, but we're gonna keep it at that right now. Trump. Trump has so many problems right now with his own self. I don't see. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to support him either way, but um, he has so many things going on right now between all the trials, the there's all that issue. Not to mention his, you know, his to a lesser degree cognitive issues as well. But the fact that he just continuously spits the same BS all the time, that it's like at this point it's old. His whole stump is old. It's his 2020 stump speech regurgitated for 4 years now. It is just like, dude, everybody's over it, or anybody that matters is over it. Like as far as you know, getting people to your side, they're over it. That stuff is not gonna, like, if you've continuously repeating the same stuff that you were repeating 4 years ago, people are not gonna. There's no, at this point, nobody else is coming to your side. If they were gonna come to your side, they would have been come to your side. So you need to come up with some new shit. Like, saying the same stuff over and over again is not. It's not gonna help you. Like I said, and then of course, if anything, his issues are gonna hurt him more and more and more. Um, with all the trials, the convictions. Um, Now, do I think any of it is going to really become fruitful before election? I honestly don't know. It doesn't look like it. It's looking less and less like it. I was hopeful to begin with, but with delays and issues that have risen out of nowhere, that seem like, what the hell. Um, it's like, this is just, it's like, as much as he shouldn't be that whole, like, Teflon Don thing. For some reason, it somehow continues to happen. Um, but but one thing that I don't think people are talking about when it comes to Trump, though, and I question, is the whole talk about how everything has to line up before the election. Because once the election happens, it's like this thought or this mindset that, oh, once the election happens, there's no changing it. Now, stay with me for a second. I know you're thinking, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You can't, what? That's what old January 6th was about. You can't change. No, I'm not talking about. I'm not. There's space between there. Hear me out. So everybody's acting like, we've got to have some kind of conviction, if for those who, like, want something to happen to Trump. Um, you have to have some type of conviction or something before November, before election day. Um, because after that, we have no chance. There's no way. Nothing's going to stop him. If he becomes president, nothing's going to stop him. If he gets all the votes, if he wins the electoral college, we're doomed. He's president. He's going to, exonerate himself, whatever. He's going to go, keep himself from anything happening. Um, and I question that, because, see, you do have a period there between election day and when actual electorates are presented, right? And it's not like there's not a history of this happening, where electorates can change. Okay, it has happened in the past, although never to the point of actually changing the election, but it has happened. So hear me out for a second. If we have a type of condition where he's in the middle of trial, the trial doesn't completely get cleared out before election day. Election day happens, and by some chance, he actually does win the majority of the electoral college. So he is the one who presumably is becoming president. Then, say it's a week or two later or something like that, or even 3 or 4 weeks later, because usually this doesn't happen till late December or middle to late December, before they actually present, the electorates in Washington. All our representative electorals go, and we present, this is our electorate, and this state, particular state, whatever. It voted for Biden. This one voted for Trump, whatever. Between that time, his trial continues, and he is suddenly convicted. Okay. I feel like there could be a potential chance in that moment that could change perspectives throughout the country. And there could even be a push, which I feel like would probably be better if it came from that side. But nonetheless, if there was a push for, okay, because he has been convicted, this cannot happen. He cannot become president. I feel like there's a potential chance that, and this is dramatic, obviously, but there's a potential chance that a number of electorates, especially if the electoral college is close, like he barely beats Biden, and as far as that there's a chance that a couple of electorates could decide to change. Once they get up there, they could be like, "Oh man, I can't." And now I don't. I just can't. I can't put this out there. It's I can't allow this to happen. We're gonna change it. Now it has, like I said, it has happened in the past. Like I think I want to say around 7 different times throughout throughout history. I could be wrong with that. I think it's seven, five, somewhere between 5 and 7. Where one or two electorates, went against the initial votes in their respective states, um, or whatever, and cast against that electorate. Um, it has happened. Like I said, never before to the point that it actually changed the election. Matter of fact, that when it did happen, I don't think it was even remotely close to changing the election. But this could be a moment. And while it's crazy enough that it seems like this particular election has created moment after moment after moment, like this unprecedented moment. Um, there could be an unprecedented moment where something like that, in my opinion, could happen, and it could happen to the degree enough for that to flip. Now, what chaos and issues that would cause, I don't know. Um, could that cause even more of a backlash than him actually becoming president? I don't know. It I don't know. It depends, but I feel like that's a possibility that's something that could happen, and I don't think anybody has thought of it. Maybe legally, I mean, to some degree, maybe there's some kind of challenges that it couldn't actually happen, but I don't know. I feel like there's a possibility of something like that happening, and that goes before anything like what happened on the 6th or what people were wanting to stop on the 6th. Legally, the 6th could not be stopped. That is legally true. It cannot be stopped. Those electors were already verified. They had already been counted and verified and accepted. That the January 6th was just solely like just going through the motions of like, you know, announcing them or it was like it's just like a show. The legal part of it had already happened before that. It happened, weeks before that. So that's what I'm talking about. When the actual electors are presented in the legal stance and it's accepted, that's the point where I'm talking about they could change. And that is legal. So that's what I'm talking about here. You know, the possibility of that changing beforehand and whether it would change enough to actually change the election and what would happen then. So, but anyways, um, I hope you enjoyed that. That's what my thoughts on debates and stuff, and the debate and all the issues around it, and just a little summary snippet from what are my thoughts on Biden and Trump. RFK, yes, I don't agree with him. I don't like him. Really, anything about him, honestly. Um, and I don't really see him as any different from, well, Biden or Trump, honestly. Um, so it's like I don't like them. I don't like him. So yeah. that's pretty much it. So thank you for joining me. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought, what your opinions are. What are your thoughts on the debate? Um, what are your thoughts on how Biden's going to handle it? What are your thoughts on how Trump's going to handle it? I think Trump is going to be as crass and just rude as ever. I think. I mean, I don't know. He could surprise us, but for some, I just feel like he's going to be his normal, just douchey asshole self. Biden is going to, try to be his, you know, dark Brandon self probably at times. Uh, but ultimately, I think they're going to both look like morons. Um, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, let me know what you think of each one of them. Let me know what you think with the with RFK, whether or not that will be a big issue. If you how much you think that will affect, if he actually gets in the debate. How much you think it just in the general election at this point he might be causing, and by election time, how much that might change, you know, and affect the actual debate. I mean, the actual election. Um, and then yeah, let me think. Let me know also what you think about, Biden's issues, Trump's issues, and what I thought about that. Let me know all that stuff. Let me know anything you want me to talk about, other material, or subject matter. So, yeah, thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. That helps me out a whole lot. Check out my other channels, JMD and JMDPLAY. And yeah, JM puzzling as well. Check that out. You might like that. If you're into jigsaw puzzles and stuff, yeah. If you like the video games, check out JMD Play. If you like drums and music, check out JMD. But yeah, until next time, peace. I'm out. Later.